Good morning. Welcome to the Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Bonnie Rose, and it's great to have you here, whether you're here in person or whether you're at home snuggled up in your PJs. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Lonnie, our board president.
Good morning. Good morning from a warm Ventura. So I'm just so excited that you're joining us this morning, whether it's here in our limited capacity sanctuary or, like Bonnie said, snuggled up at home, probably with an iced tea this morning, the way that it's going. So I'm just so happy that you can join us and be a part of our spiritual community this morning.
Thanks. Did you want to do something?
I do want to do
Yes.
something.
Okay.
I know you're all wondering what that is.
Yes.
Well, I am just very honored this morning to do the flower dedication because they go to someone that is right behind you, Bonnie.
Oh, there they are. Okay.
I know you all feel the same way. Jen Luce, we love you. You are a breath of fresh air, a huge heart, and so devoted to our center in so many beautiful ways. And I think the flowers just represent the beauty that you exude all the time. So enjoy.
Thank you, Jen. And thank you, Lonnie. And then we're going to have our youth and family guy come up, Bill. He's going to inspire us with his wise but childlike words.
Thank you. I'm Bill Hadris with Youth and Family, and today I'd like to start with a quote. Bear in mind that the wonderful things in your schools are the work of many generations. All this is put in your hands as your inheritance in order that you may receive it, honor it, add to it, and one day faithfully hand it on to your children. That was Albert Einstein. And I believe what he was saying was what we give becomes part of our immortality. We live in a reciprocal universe. So what we give or do right now comes back to us. Many times it returns in different ways, or even at unexpected times. When you give or do nice, kind, or positive things unconditionally, you faithfully add to that inheritance Einstein was talking about. So I'd like you to think, what can you give unconditionally? Maybe it's helping someone. Maybe it's just listening. Maybe it's right now keeping yourself safe and wearing a mask when you go out. Right? So with that, I invite you to close your eyes, take a breath, and repeat after me. I make a difference in the world.
I make a difference in the world.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. All right, and now I'm inviting Jennifer, the recipient of the flowers, to come up and pray for us.
Thank you so much. That was so sweet and very unexpected. I'm inviting all of our practitioners and ministers to stand if you're able, whether you're here or at home. And knowing that there is one life. That life is a life of spirit. That life is love, peace, kindness, and joy. And as I know I am one with this life of spirit, I know each and every one of us are one with God. And that no matter the distance, we are all connected. And I speak my word today that this service unfolds easily and effortlessly, that the words that are spoken are exactly what we need to hear, that the message touches us, the music, and just the joy that is this season. Despite any challenges, it is filled with love, and God is in all of it. And I'm so grateful for this day. So grateful for this community. So grateful for this service. So grateful to be part of this collective. And with an open heart, I release this prayer into universal law, knowing my words have been spoken, and so it is. Amen.
So it is. Thank you. And so let us continue to breathe deeply, just feeling that beautiful, beautiful air going into our lungs, knowing that we are oxygenating our cells, and knowing that the miracle of physiology is taking care of us always. And likewise, the miracle of love, the miracle of God, Spirit, whatever it is we choose to call it, is always caring for us, always loving us. And so we keep that in heart and mind and being as we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
A Christmas Poem by Leslie Leland Fields. Let the stable still astonish. Straw dirt floor, dull eyes, dirty flanks of donkeys, oxen. No bed to carry that pain. And then the child, rag-wrapped, laid to cry at a trough. Who would have chosen this? Who would have said, yes, let the God of all the heavens and earth be born here in this place? Who but the same God who stands in the darker, fouler rooms of our hearts and says, yes, let the God of all the heavens and earth be born here in this place.
And so we breathe into the power of love everywhere. Love around us, love within us, love in our sweetness and our goodness, love in those places within us that we might call the darker, fouler rooms of our heart. And we trust that it is all here with a high and a holy purpose of love becoming love. With that, in heart and mind and being, let us breathe in deeply. And then exhale, opening our eyes in love and in service to what is, as it is, and so it is.
Stay
So that was kudos to our choir. And gosh, I wonder if the image behind me is showing up at home. It's a picture of my giant rabbit trampling the Holy Family. Seems rather appropriate. So, so there you have it. 'Tis the season. It's really great to be here this morning and to virtually see all of you. And boy, this has been quite a Christmas season, hasn't it? Quite a holiday season, not to leave out any other faith traditions. It seems like it should have been simpler in a way because we're all staying at home, but in a lot of ways it's more complex. And I think a lot of what is challenging for many of us is that it seems to be going and going and going and going, and then we think we get it right, and then it dips back, the numbers surge again, and it starts going and going and going and going. So we really are being tested in this place of darkness, in this place of uncertainty. And I have to say that, you know, as frustrating as it is to the ego and to the small self, it really is a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing in many ways, because I think it inspires us to greater love and greater compassion, and ultimately greater joy and greater trust. So I'm going to start this morning by telling you a story that I read from the writings of Rachel Naomi Remen, who is the daughter of a rabbi, an Orthodox rabbi, I believe, and she wrote 2 wonderful books that we've talked a lot about at this center, My Grandfather's Blessings and also Kitchen Table Wisdom. Rachel Remen is a doctor, and she is also an expert in terms of assisting people as they move through the process of cancer. So this story is about one of her client named Helene, and she had had cervical cancer and was a survivor. She had survived for 8 years, and she was doing well. And one of the things about Helene was that she was always impeccably dressed. Personally, I cannot relate to that, but she was always impeccably dressed, and she always had perfect makeup on and perfect lipstick and perfect eyelashes, and her hair was coiffed just right. She wore designer clothes, and even when she was undergoing cancer treatment, chemotherapy, radiation, whatever, nobody ever saw her without her perfection in place, without her makeup in place, and without the perfect ensemble to complement her look. Well, 8 years after she was diagnosed and treated, she was seeing Rachel Remen, Dr. Remen, for a tune-up. And she said to Dr. Remen, I'll call her Rachel, that she was very happy in her life, and she was engaged, and she was about to get married, but she was just a little bit unsure of her fiancé because he wasn't very passionate. He seemed very careful around her, and she just wasn't sure if this was going to be a good match. So she decided to sit with it and just be in the mystery of it and see what happened. And then a couple weeks later, she went downtown to San Francisco and was shopping in one of the exclusive shopping establishments there. And it was in 1989. And she was trying on this beautiful dress that she was going to wear to an event with her fiancé. It was a crimson cocktail dress, it said. And she looked fantastic in it. And her makeup was perfect, and her hair was perfect, but she didn't have the right shoes. So the saleswoman said, why don't you go upstairs, leave your stuff here, lock it in the dressing room, we'll be careful with it, go upstairs to the shoe department and find the perfect shoes. So she went upstairs, tried on some shoes in the same crimson color, 4-inch heels, very sassy. She tried them on, was about to purchase them, and then everything changed. The building started shaking. It was 1989, and it was the San Francisco earthquake. And everything went black, and everything fell down around her. She and a couple of the people that were on the shoe department with her managed to crawl out to the street to get out there, and everything was just in complete disarray. She didn't have her purse. She didn't have her clothes. All she had was a crimson cocktail dress and 4-inch stiletto heels. She walked over to a payphone to see if she could get somebody to help her, but she didn't have any money, and the payphone was out of order anyway. And she was not one, she was very controlled, very, very proper. She was not one to ask for help. So she decided to walk from San Francisco, cross the Golden State Bridge, and go to her home in Marin in her high heels. So she did. And it took 8 hours. And about 4 hours in, she had had it with the shoes, and she discarded them. And then she ripped holes in her pantyhose, and she tore up her feet, and she was sweating and dirty and messy, and her makeup was running, and her mascara was running, and her lipstick was smudged, and her hair was just like spaghetti. But she got home in her own house where her fiancé was, and for some reason she knocked on the door, and he opened it, and he saw her, and he took her in his arms, and he started kissing her so tenderly everywhere on her face. And the story says that they made love right there in the foyer because he was so relieved to see her. Later, she asked him, "What got into you? You've always been so careful with me. What happened?" And he said, "I was always afraid of messing up your lipstick." And that's why I was so cautious and so careful, and I always asked permission. The earthquake, the situation, the circumstances, the conditions allowed Helene to become vulnerable, and that vulnerability brought greater love. Now, I'm telling this story because it seems like there has been somewhat, it's not a literal earthquake. Please, God, don't send us that too, okay? I'm looking up because that's where God is, okay? But the pandemic has been an earthquake of sorts. It has rocked our world. It has changed things. And it has caused us to sometimes have to shed the tight shoes of the former disciplines that we once knew, the former routines, the former habits, the former relationships, the way that we did everything. It's caused us to have to discard those to the side. And some of us have ripped holes in our stockings. It has literally smeared our lipstick by wearing masks. That we have this thing now that we have to wear a mask, and that has changed a lot too, and the whole social distancing has changed a lot for us. It has changed our relationship with ourselves. I don't know if this has happened to you. I'm strangely going to confess this here, but one day, when it had been sort of a long week of quarantine, and I was finally going to leave the house, I thought, well, best take a shower. You're going to be around other people. And I got in my shower, and there was, well, garlands of cobwebs all over the shower, festooned there. These spiders were building condominiums in my shower because it hadn't been used in a while. So everything is changing. Everything has changed, and we don't know the outcome, but it certainly is making us vulnerable. Now, vulnerability is sometimes seen as a swear word in spiritual teachings. In this one, I've certainly noticed, but sometimes on a good day, we've got this religious science symbol, which I don't know if the camera is going to get, but it says a V on our symbol, and sometimes I feel like that V stands for vulnerability. But vulnerability is really a beautiful thing because it opens us up to a greater experience. All of those things that happened to Helene, all of these things that happened to us. A couple of weeks ago, when I was speaking, I said that there is perhaps a peace in the pandemic. The pandemic is the new peace. And maybe I also extended that, not really being sure of whether it was the right thing to say, but maybe there is a perfection in the pandemic as well. And I think that that's part of the perfection in the pandemic, is that it is causing us to lose old ways of behaving, old ways of being, and to open up to greater vulnerability to see what might emerge. What I think is destined to emerge in all things is just love. Just love, meaning only love. In fact, that's the name of this message today, just love. The thought about speaking on this topic comes from two songs by a friend, Michael Gott. Those of us who have been around the denomination for a while know him as a singer and a songwriter. He wrote a lot of the music that we sing in the church. Love can, move the world. Love can move the world. And wrote a lot of songs, but one of the songs that he wrote is There Is Only Love, And then there was another song that he wrote that I don't remember the title of it, and I don't remember it very well, but the premise I remember really, really well. And that is that if you look at life like a drama, because the world is a stage and we are merely players, if you look at life like a drama, you want the protagonist to win, man. You know, there's a good guy, and you want that person to win, and he's doing everything that he needs to do, but in order to make a play interesting, there has to be some type of a conflict in the play, right? You ever seen a play without a conflict? Ugh. Me. It's boring. So we need a conflict to make the play interesting. But Michael Gott in his song says, you know, the hero is love, but love also wrote the play, and love is the conflict as well. It's all love. It can't be anything but love. It is just love, only love. And the way that love shows up for us, I think, is to awaken us. I don't know that we would awaken as deeply as we would if there weren't challenges, if there weren't pandemics, if there weren't earthquakes, if there weren't tensions in the world, if there weren't politics. I don't know that we would have the opportunity to awaken as deeply as we do without those things. Because what happens when we consciously and mindfully approach the things that seem like antagonists, when we approach those things knowing that they are love in a distressing disguise, what happens is that we open up to that greater vulnerability. And we become like Helene in the story. We open ourselves, we are vulnerable, and we allow Spirit to kiss us upon the eyes. To kiss us on the eyes so that we may see differently. And so that we may open up to the great possibility of divine love that is so much greater than anything that we could ever imagine, that wants to emerge not only through us, but through all beings. And sometimes we get to be the love that we wish to see in the world. I thought about this title, Just Love, that there is only love, just love. And then I thought about, well, how do you manifest the consciousness that there is just love, only love? And the way to manifest the consciousness of just love is to just love. You like that? How it's a noun and a verb? That just like kept me up at night, man. I just love that so much. And you know, I guess the thing to ask ourselves this morning is, do we just love? I mean, truly everything is love or love in disguise, but are we using the love that has been given to us in the most profound and deep and inspiring and heart-opening way that blesses all beings? That's a question for you to answer. I know that I'm not all of the time, you know. I had my Be Kind mask on the other day, and I had to turn it around again because I didn't feel like being kind. I didn't feel like being mean, but I knew I wasn't going to make that extra effort to be especially kind. I was tired, you know. Turn the mask, well, never mind. I don't want to set a bad example, but anyway. So, you know, what would it be like to show up, to be love, to just be love all the time, to just love, to love and do nothing else but love? I think part of it is knowing love, knowing what love is. The other night, I had a meeting with our practitioners, our wonderful practitioners. We have, I don't know how many, I lose count. I'm not very good at remembering numbers like that, but about 30 of them, and they are fantastic people, every single one of them. And they really do what practitioners do, which is they know the truth. They know the spiritual truth. They pray. Prayer is defined as knowing the facts from the highest point of view, knowing the facts from the highest point of view. And I said the highest point of view, which is actually, that works as well. But the practitioners pray, and they hold this congregation in such tenderness, and I have been so touched and so impressed is not the word that I want, but just moved by the tenderness with which they have moved through this pandemic and supported me and supporting all of the congregants. So actually, right now, let's just give a round of applause for all of our practitioners because they are fantastic. So anyway, we had this meeting on Thursday night, and it was just to get together to check in and see how we were all doing. And after the next day, I woke up feeling just, again, this great expansive love for our practitioners and feeling that tenderness for them as well, and wondering, you know, what are they doing? How are they doing this? And I asked them a question. I want to read it so I make sure I get it right. I asked them, how has the pandemic caused you to give and receive greater love. And this is how our practitioners just love. Now, I got really long answers from a lot of them, so I just encapsulated it and went for trends that I was seeing in all of it. So some of the ways that they just love is to slow down and to pause and to enhance their inner connection with the self. Several of them said that they want to befriend the mystery, but that also means befriending the present moment, being with what is, being in love and in service with what is as it is, and so it is. Some have recognized that love is the most precious thing that we have. Some are actively seeking ways to express kindness. Others are appreciating the vulnerability of others and learning to express greater compassion. Others are making more of an effort to connect with people and to recognize how much they appreciate the people in their lives. Others are treasuring small things. Others are being served and are serving. But the key part for this particular person was that she was able to allow herself to be served. This was a person that serves a lot at the church, and some of you know her, and I don't think it's confidential. She fell off her bike and hurt her knee, and she's allowing people to bring her food and help her and do the gardening and do many of the things that she does around the center. Another way that our practitioners practice just love is that they practice self-care. They practice self-care, which is so important. Honestly, I think that's why I turned around my mask and didn't want to be kind, because I wasn't doing enough self-care and I wasn't in a place to put out the kind of energy that I wish to share with the world. So these are the ways. These are the ways that some of our practitioners just love, and there are infinite ways. So if you want to look within yourself and see, okay, how am I already practicing love in the world? And then might I be able to expand that a bit? And one of the ways that you can expand that a bit, one of the ways that we can expand it a bit, is to recognize that all of these things, all of that list that I read, being at one with the mystery, is treasuring small things, reaching out, getting greater compassion. Do you know what the cause of that was? The cause of that was, in part, the pandemic. So what I'm thinking is that something good, all of this list of things that I read, they are all good things, and they were all caused by something that is allegedly bad, but is perhaps Christ in one of his most distressing disguises. Godness in disguise. And what if everything in our lives is simply love trying to cause greater love? So I'm going to invite you in this moment to think about something in your life that feels insurmountable, that feels like there's no solution, that feels like it will never end, that feels despairing, that feels hopeless, and wonder with me, is that possibly Christ, wholeness, everything, in a distressing disguise to inspire me to greater love, to inspire me to know the truth that will set me free, set us free, that there is only love, there is just love, and right now I am being called to deeper practice of that love. And that's the thing. You know, it's not only about the knowing. I spoke about how the practitioners knew the principle, and certainly some of the things that I read were the active practice of the principle. But that's also what it takes to just love, is a commitment to practice. A commitment to practice, to live as if the truth of just love is true. That means that we have to be impeccable in noticing when we are out of alignment with love, whether it's in the way that we treat our bodies, whether it's in the way that we treat the planet, whether it's the way that we treat other people, whether it's the way we talk about people that we see on the news, whether it's about anything. We have to, if we want to practice just love and experience the grace, be kissed upon the eyes by the divine, by the beloved, then we have to be impeccable. The more impeccable we are, the more impeccability we practice, the more love we get to receive. And it's not a quid pro quo thing. It's just that once we start doing that, once we start leaning into practicing greater love, it becomes like this vortex, and all we want to do is love. And that's where things get really exciting. That's where things get beautiful. Rumi, the Sufi poet, said that we have to gamble everything for love if we are to be a true human being. We gamble everything for love. And because it's the season, this idea of gambling everything for love reminded me of a Christmas story, which I'm sure all of you have heard, which is Gifts of the Magi. It's an O. Henry story, and these two young people living in a flat, and they have hardly any money, but they have two glorious possessions. The man has a beautiful watch that he inherited, that he likes to pull out and look at from time to time, and it's on this old ratty watch chain. And the woman, his wife, has this gorgeous hair that is just unspeakably gorgeous, beautiful. And yet, when it comes time to celebrate Christmas, they don't have the money to buy each other gifts. So what do? The man sells his watch to get combs for his wife's hair. And the wife sells her hair to get a chain for the husband's watch. And that is such a beautiful story of unselfishness. As many times as I've heard it, it moves me every time. And the ending of it where O. Henry speaks about, that these gifts were simple and these people were simply, but they are the Magi. And I would say that they are the Christ. They are practicing the magician of the magic of the Magi, but they are also practicing the wholeness of the Christ because they gave everything to love. And so that's what I'm asking of us today. It's a tall order, but can we commit in this moment without having to do an altar call, come up and whatever you do. Go to the baptism font. I've never been in an altar call. I don't know what you do. But can you, Norm has, okay. Can you commit to giving everything to love? And what would that look like? You may not have to do it all at once. You may want to start in the shallow end. But just start with something that you've been holding on to. We all have things that we hold on to that we know we probably should let go of because it's keeping us distant from love. But what if we were just to unwhiten our knuckles and open up just a little bit and let it fly away from us and be transformed without blaming the fact that we're holding on, because the only reason we're holding on is to inspire ourselves to greater love. But just let go. Let go. And give everything to love, your whole life to love, your thoughts to love, your breath to love, your body to love, your emotions to love, your intentions to love, your kindness to love. Give it all up for love, and you will be kissed upon the eyes by Spirit. I am going to close with something that one of our practitioners wrote. And I like the way she wrote this, so I'm singling her out. This is from Jill Santos. I kind of have permission to use it. We'll see. I think she said I could use it. So anyway, here we go. Okay, so Jill wrote this, and she said, "The last year has reminded me that personal successes or satisfaction are not guarantees. Life continues regardless of desire or fear. It is not our job to effort harder, to live more quid pro quo, or to manipulate people or circumstances to our liking or our benefit. Our job is to stay steadfast in the knowledge that we are part of the greater whole, and that wherever, how, or where we are in the now requires near constant appreciation and other tools that will keep our vibrations high and secure. It is our job to be the vessel, to be the conduit, to be the flashpoint for Spirit to do its work. Certainly, verily, I say unto you, it is our job, no matter what, to just love." Let's do that now, and let us pray. And so I turn within and trust the love that brought us all here today, whether we're here physically or whether we're in the sanctuary of cyberspace, just reaching out to one another through intention and energy, through our commitment to the spiritual center and to our commitment to the principles that we teach. We teach love, be love, share love, serve love. We teach compassion. We teach kindness as the delivery system for compassion. We teach working on ourselves and only ourselves and thanking anyone who gives us the opportunity. And this morning we teach about surrendering everything to love. Our bodies, our thoughts, our hearts, our minds, giving it all to love, because love truly already has it. We just get to get on board with that and start enjoying our lives. So in this one beautiful place that I know as life, this wholeness, this place that is infused with spirit, I connect with that now. And I know that as I give up anything to love, I am receiving so much more than I ever gave up. Because I'm already stepping into that truth of who I am. And as I know this for me, I know it for every single person, every life that we're touching today, every single person that it exists in the past, present, or future, that our surrender to greater love allows us to be more of who we are and what we are. And so I pray this week for opportunities, for insight, for mindfulness, for knowing when we are stepping out of alignment of love, and knowing that the response is kind and swift, and that we move ourselves into a greater expression of grace, a greater receptivity to the love that infuses all of creation, that infuses our lives, so that we may infuse the lives of others with this love that is just so precious and so beautiful and yet so omnipresent at the same time. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to see this, so grateful for everything that has led all of us to this deeper relationship with life and with one another. So grateful for the truth, so grateful for the mystery, and so grateful for love. I bless this spiritual teaching as I bless all paths to God: churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, fundamentalists, atheists, agnostics, all beings everywhere. I bless them because all beings are a blessing. And with a heart that is so filled with love and so filled with gratitude, I say thank you, Spirit, thank you, love. And I release these words into the divine mystery, and together we say, and so it is. Namaste. Thank you. Here comes Lonnie. Sorry, I just breathed cooties in your space. I tried to hold my breath.
Don't we all love Bonnie cooties? Oh, love. So every week I say how grateful I am to be able to do the offering, and I really am. It's awkward sometimes to talk about money and finances, but I see it more as generosity and goodness and love. And our community is so steadfast in its devotion to continuing to serve, and that's what's inspired me every week to get up here and say these words and honor everyone who just supports us and supports everything that's happening in the center, because it's certainly changed this last year, and it's very different for so many people, and yet we have come together and we have supported each other, and we've stayed fast in our belief that this too will pass and we will be stronger because of it. So this morning, I invite you to place your offering over your heart and repeat after me. We trust in spirit.
We trust in spirit.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
We offer this gift.
We offer this gift.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
Our gifts bless many.
Our gifts bless many.
And return to us multiplied in miraculous ways.
And return to us multiplied in miraculous ways.
So that we may give again.
So that we may give again.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Lonnie. And now we'll hear from our choir again.
Ding dong merrily
Thank you, choir. Thank you, Mary and David, for all that you do. Thank you, John Johnson, for mixing it. Thank you, Bonnie and Brian, for doing the slides. And we are good to go. I'm going to do some announcements, and then we'll head on out. So this Monday, which is tomorrow night, there is a World Chants and Sound Healing concert facilitated by Brock Travis. There's a couple of special guests. One of them is me, also Kelly Jean Anderson. And it's live streamed on Monday, December 21st, tomorrow, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. All donations benefit our center, and there's information about this concert on our special events webpage. This is a lovely concert. It's for the solstice, and it's really, gosh, the music is so heart-opening and soothing, and I just think it's going to be beautiful. So I'll be here. I hope you are here too in cyberspace. After that, on Thursday evening, it's Christmas Eve already, and we are having what we're calling a very quarantine Christmas, which means that we're going to do our Christmas Eve service on Zoom, not Facebook Live, but Zoom. And so I'm sending out an email tomorrow night about how to get onto the Zoom program, and then it's also on our website under special events. That is Thursday, December 24th at 7 p.m. And like I said, that's on our website. We've got skits. We've got 3 skits. We've got the choir singing with beautiful slides like the ones you just saw. We have a lovely parade of animals that is all slides and music. And a lot of congregational effort went into making this happen in a new and enthusiastic way. So come and join us. Come and support us. It'll be really wonderful. 7 p.m., December 24th. Oh, and bring a candle, because at the end we're going to ask you to dim your lights and sing Silent Night with a candle. Okay. Okay, so this coming Wednesday, there's no meditation. You will not be permitted to meditate this Wednesday because we're saving it up for Christmas Eve, which is on Thursday. And then next Wednesday, Linda Drevenstedt is facilitating sort of a prequel for the New Year's Eve service. So there's a letting go, and then there's a letting in spiritual transformation. I believe that the Wednesday prior, the Wednesday before New Year's Eve is going to be letting go, and then on New Year's Eve, you let in. The service is called So Long, Farewell to 2020. That's the New Year's Eve service. It's on Zoom. But again, also come on Wednesday for the meditation to get both parts of it. Linda is a wonderful facilitator. There's information for that on our calendar and special events page as well. A new class, A Mind at Home with Itself. This is 8 Tuesdays beginning in January, and it's taught by Patrick Harbula. Some of us took Busting Loose from the Money Game with him. That's on our website and our classes page. There is also a healing workshop coming up. Remember how I talked about how wonderful our practitioners are? Well, there's 5 of them that have gathered together to give us a smorgasbord of various healing modalities. And then later on, we'll do a longer workshop for each of them. But this first workshop, the smorgasbord, is going to be on January 16th, a Saturday in the afternoon. And lots of great information on our website about that, so go ahead and check that out. That's under classes as well. Let's see. After the service, you can have prayer with one of our great practitioners, and that's on Zoom, and Doreen will be inserting the link in the Facebook comments so you can get your prayer going, okay? I think that's all I've got. So I will see you Monday night or Christmas Eve. So let's pray, and we'll go our separate ways. Here we go. Okay. All right. So turning within, I just take in the goodness of this time together, take in the heightened awareness of God, the mindfulness of being, and just trust and know that all is well. All is well, no matter what appearances come up during the week. I return to this place of knowing that all is well and that I'm here to just love, because love is the only thing that is, and I get to align myself with that. And so I know that this time together has been good and very good. I know that the coming week is beautiful, filled with miracles, filled with blessings, filled with connection, filled with joy. And with a heart that is so filled with gratitude, I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is.